Welcome back to Mr. DuPage's classroom. This lesson is for my Algebra 1 class. It is 3.4 Proportions Day 1. As you can see, the first three problems are review, so why don't you go ahead and give yourself some time, give those a shot. Let's see how you can do. All right, let's see how you did. Number 1, go ahead, and the first step is we're going to look in the parentheses, see if we can do anything. Well, 1 minus 2x, there is nothing we can do. So we're going to go ahead and distribute the 5. That would give me 5 minus 10x is equal to negative 25. The next step, we need to try to combine like terms. Well, 5 minus 10x, there's no like terms there we can combine. So we need to get the x by itself. We'll subtract 5, subtract 5. That would give us negative 10x is equal to negative 30. Divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10, x equals positive 3. The other way you could have done that is you could have divided by 5 to start with. That would have left you with 1 minus 2x on the left would be equal to negative 5, and that still would have worked out. Okay? Let's look at number 2. We have an x on both sides of the equation. I have always said I want to keep my x positive as much as possible. So in order to do that, or in order to keep my x positive when I bring one of my two x's over, I would move my negative 4x. So I would add 4x, add 4x. That would give me 5 equals 6x minus 13. Now I need to try to get the x by itself, so I'll add 13. That would give me 18 equals 6x. Go ahead and divide by 6. So x would also equal 3. Number 3. Remember now that if there is a large fraction bar, just like this problem has, number 3 has, I need to multiply by 3 first. That would leave me with 3x minus 12 is equal to 6. Now I need to get x by itself, so I'll add 12. So 3x equals 18. Divide by 3. X equals 6. Hopefully you did pretty well on those because those were review. Now on to some vocabulary. A blank is a comparison of two numbers by division. That is known as a ratio. We can write a ratio 3 ways. The first way would be A to B. Second way would be A colon B, and the third way would be A over B. All these things mean exactly the same thing. So A to B, A to B, A to B is how you would read all three of those. Okay? A ratio is a rate if A and B are different units. Examples of a ratio with different units, it would be cars to their miles per gallon, miles per hour, and RPMs, so revolutions per minute. Okay? A unit rate. A unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. An example of a unit rate would be 3 over 1, or 7 over 1, or 17 over 1, which if you make 17 miles per hour, that'd be miles per hour over 1 hour, which would just be the same thing as 17 miles per hour. Okay? Sorry, this wouldn't be miles per hour on that fraction. This would be miles in the fraction. So it'd be 17 miles traveled over 1 hour, which would give us 17 miles per hour. A proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. So this is a proportion. Proportion, okay? Solving proportions. An example of a proportion would be x over 3 is equal to 4 over x. That is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. Okay? In order to solve proportion, we would use cross multiplication. When I use cross multiplication, I'm going to keep the parts that are in the numerator, and the parts that are in the denominator would go to the numerator. So what I'm saying is I'm going to keep the x in the top left, so it would be 6 times x would be equal to 3 would move to the 4, so it would be 3 times 4, which is 12. I'd go ahead and divide by 6, so x would equal 2. Okay. In example number 2, I need to cross multiply. But in order to cross multiply this x plus 2 times 10, I would need to make the x plus 2 in parentheses. So it would really be 10 times x plus 2 is equal to 14 times x, so 14x. Now, to solve this, I need to distribute my 10. So it would be 10x plus 20 is equal to 14x. I always want to try to keep my variable positive, so I would subtract the 10x. So it would be 20 is equal to 4x. Divide by 4. X would be equal to 5. Make sure you're boxing your answers there as well, please. Okay. You must distribute the 10 to the x and the 2. Maybe we should use, well, we already did this, but parentheses. We'd want to use parentheses there. Okay. You have 6 examples of exactly what we just talked about, so why don't you go ahead, pause the video, give yourself some time, give it a shot. Let's see how you can do. All right, let's go to number 1. Let's see how you did. Well, if we cross multiply, we'd get 12x is equal to 96. If I divide that by 12, divide by 12, x would equal 8. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. So it'd be 4y is equal to 18. If I divide by 4, y would be equal to 18 over 4. Those are both divisible by 2, so it would be 9 over 2. Okay. Number 3, we want to go ahead and cross multiply again. Remember, I like to write my answers after I've cross multiplied in the numerator, so it would be 30 is equal to 5x. If I divide by 5, 6 would equal x. Number 4, here I have w plus 6 and w minus 4. This is just like our second example from up above, where I'm going to need to make parentheses around my quantities. So when I cross multiply, what I will have is 3 times the quantity of w minus 4 is equal to 5 times the quantity of w plus 6. Distribute. Here I would have 3w minus 12 is equal to 5w plus 30. Now I have to get all the variables on the same side, so I would subtract by 3w. That would keep my variable positive. So this would be negative 12 is equal to 2w plus 30. Get the variable by itself, I would subtract 30. So I'd have negative 42 is equal to 2w. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Negative 21 equals w. Okay. Number 5, again, I have a quantity x minus 1, so I need to put that in parentheses and go ahead and cross multiply. It'd be 10 times the quantity x minus 1 is equal to 11x. Distribute, so I'd have 10x minus 10 is equal to 11x. If I subtract the 10x from both sides, I would end up with negative 10 is equal to x. And number 6, again, I need to use parentheses. Cross multiply, this would give me 6 times the quantity z plus 2 is equal to 4 times the quantity z minus 4. Distribute. 6z plus 12 is equal to 4z minus 16. Subtract my 4z. So 2z plus 12 is equal to negative 16. Subtract my 12. 2z would be equal to negative 28. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Z is equal to negative 14. And that is our video for today. Remember that a ratio is comparison of two numbers by division. It can be written as a to b, a colon b, or a over b. A ratio is a rate if a and b are different units. A unit rate is a rate with a denominator of 1. That would be like 17 miles per hour, which would be 17 miles over 1 hour. And a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. In order to solve proportions, we will cross multiply. If you understood all of those things